You don't think it can happen to you, and then it does. You think your child has the flu and she's not eating because she's nauseous, only it's not the flu. She has a lot of bruising, and you chalk it up to her being a toddler, only that's not why. My 4-year-old daughter can't spell her name yet without adding in extra letters or forgetting an E, but she'll remind you not to forget her Zofran and her nightly meds, or that her leg hurts and she needs a double dose of morphine to get out of bed. If you're lucky, she'll show you the port in her chest and describe in detail how they flush and take blood from it, how it hurts but she doesn't cry because she's brave for me, or how she hates the taste of the heparin used to keep her port from clotting. She knows the days of the week, not because she learned them in preschool, but because they coincide with what day she takes each med, what day she has clinic. This is our normal. I'm a cancer mom. I had never been to Hasbro before, but every time I drove by, I said to myself or whomever I'm with, I hope I never have to set foot inside that hospital ever. Yet there I was walking through the ER doors. Thankfully, we were only there for IV fluids, and we'd be home and on a road to recovery by the afternoon, or so I thought. The triage nurse at the ER doors seemed to know who we were. She said, "This must be Belle," and we were whisked off to an ER room, completely bypassing the triage area. I chalked it up to great service. Nurses and doctors came in to check out Belle, and they all asked, how did she get the bruises? It made me really nervous. They couldn't possibly think that I did this, could they? Tests were ordered, x-rays, ultrasounds, blood work, all because of dehydration. A young doctor came in and said the words no parent should ever hear. Your daughter has cancer. She was dying. Without any control, no say, and absolutely no certainty, we were admitted to the pediatric ICU at Hasbro, and chemo started immediately. My daughter was pulled from my arms and surrounded by 5 or 6 strangers at a time. I felt completely helpless, trying to fight back tears while she cried, "Mommy, help me, help me, help me." I'm her mother. It's my job to protect her. I wanted to push them all away, scoop her up and leave with her, but instead I stood there motionless, saying over and over again, "It's okay. Everything will be okay." But it wasn't okay. I'm her Wonder Woman, and when she looked at me and begged me to save her, I let her down. In that moment, I felt as though God were punishing me for all the mistakes I'd made up to this point. I must have done something truly awful to deserve what was happening. It's always been easy for me to fake it till you make it. Once we were out of the ICU, I could forget she was sick until she asked, "When can we go home?" But then the inevitable happened, and she began to lose her hair. She had gorgeous, dark brown ringlets that I could only dream of having. The nurses urged me to cut a piece as a keepsake before I couldn't, but I waited as long as I could. Her hair started falling out 10 days after she began chemotherapy. I remember her grabbing tufts of hair from her sweaty head and pulling out fistfuls with little to no effort other than just from running her fingers through her hair. She hated the loose hair covering her pillow, and each time I flipped the pillow over or changed the pillowcase, a piece of me died inside. I don't remember crying out loud until a good friend called me the night I took the lock of hair. I broke down and wept uncontrollably, and I don't think I've cried like that since. I knew her hair would grow back, but I was grieving the loss of my child before cancer, before she lost her hair. Never again would I see this wild 2-year-old with bouncing, crazy Richard Simmons Shirley Temple curls scale the wrong side of the banister and drop to the sofa below, sending me into a panic. Never again would I see her curls poke out from the knitted hat I made her that would only fit for a few more months. She'd look different now. Everything would be different. This lock of hair and all the strands on her pillowcase reminded me that I couldn't pretend. I couldn't ignore the fact that my baby had cancer, and the next time she had hair, she'd no longer be a baby. After 46 days at Hasbro, we were sent home in remission. For the next 2 years, she would receive weekly chemotherapy in the Tomorrow Fun Clinic. The clinic was pitched to me as a very unusual preschool. Kids of all ages sitting around tables, playing games, painting, reading, fighting over the same toys, but all hooked up to IV poles, some bald, some not. I thought I was alone in this fight, without anyone truly understanding what the past month was like for us, until I looked around at the children and the parents in this room. One mom sat next to me and asked, "What are you in for?" I chuckled and thought, this woman is absolutely insane. But she was right. You have to laugh at it. Because being a cancer mom is so much more than the meds, the tears, the hospital stays, the hair loss. People think I'm crazy for saying there's a bright side to all of this, and I may have had a different point of view if things ended differently. I went to the funerals. I saw parents go from hopeful to broken. I'm eternally grateful that my child lived and continues to thrive. Some are not so lucky. Cancer sucks. The meds to treat it are poison, the side effects are debilitating, and the disease takes years from your life. But if you beat it, if you win, you can look back and appreciate what you gained from the experience. I never once wished away the year she was sick. Of course, I wished things were different and she never got sick. But wishing the days went by fast or never happened at all meant missing out on the milestones along the way. The cute hats and headbands for her super cute bald head. The notes written on her cast. The craft projects we made in clinic. Celebrating the moment her hair came back. The parties for friends who finished treatment. Shooting saline-filled syringes at the nurses' butts. Cruising the IV pole stand down the halls of the hospital. I did that too. Being escorted to the front of every line at Walt Disney World during her Make-A-Wish trip. Painted shoes. And the last day every cancer mom dreams of, singing Happy Last Day of Chemo. I thought once she got sick that I'd miss out on years of her life. But the exact opposite happened.